Listen to this, man. Calf.
Gemma, the energy. Priest hit it. Go home. Go. Gemma.
My head is smoking.
The priest hit it. Go home. Go. Gemma, the energy. Priest hit it. Go home. Go. Gemma.
My freaking head is
The
smoking.
priest hit it. Go home. Go. Gemma. Betas. Priest hit it. Go home. Go. Gemma.
I'm still smoking, homie.
The priest hit it. Go home. Go. Gemma.
The betas.
Priest hit it. Go home. Go. Gemma.
I'm still smoking, man.
The priest hit it. Go home. Go.
What up? What up? It's Garage Gym Homie, and today we are going over step 6 and 7. Is it worth it? Before we get into this here, please click the subscribe button. I got content coming out all the dang time for you, man. So click subscribe and let's get into this, man. And when I said 6 and 7, I'm talking about step 6 and 7 from Alcoholics Anonymous, man. This is from the AA Big Book. I'm out of the book, man. I'm not out of the, some people are out of the big book and some people are out of their big head, man. I always tell you guys, just like my sponsor told me, anything that doesn't align with what's in the book that I say, you can just disregard it, man. I might wake up one day and think I wrote the book, homie. I'm an alcoholic too. So step 6 and 7 go together. And there is a lot here, man. There is a lot here. So in Bill's story on page 13, and this is the AA Big Book. This book was written by the first over 100 people who recovered from alcoholism. Recovered. Notice I used the word recovered. They got together and they wrote this book sharing their experience with us so we too can recover. So they say the word we throughout the book. A lot of alcoholics think they're talking about all of us alcoholics. They're not. We as them, the first 100 people. So if we do what they did, we'll get what they got. And so we can't change the recipe here for a perfect cake, or else it won't come out looking like the dang picture on the cake box. So in Bill's story here on page 13, this is Bill Wilson who wrote it. I'll just read a couple quick paragraphs, then we'll dive into 6 and 7. And it says, there I humbly offered myself to God, as I then understood him, to do with me as he would. I placed myself unreservedly under his care and direction. I admitted for the first time that of myself I was nothing, that without him I was lost. I ruthlessly faced my sins and became willing to have my newfound friend is capitalized because that means God, take them away, root and branch. I have not had a drink since. So they went right here through step 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 in that one paragraph. That was what Bill did. That's how quick it went. I humbly offered myself to God. That was step 3. As I then understood him, to do with me as he would, I placed myself unreservedly under his care and direction. Step 3. I admitted for the first time that of myself I was nothing. Without him I was lost. I ruthlessly faced my sins I ruthlessly faced my sins. Step 4 and 5, right there. That's the inventory. Became willing to have my newfound friend take them away. Step 6, root and branch. Step 6 and 7, right there. Our character defects, take them away, root and branch. I became willing. I have not had a drink since. They went through 3 to 7 right there. So the real step 6 and 7 here is in how we go to how it works. And let's see where we are, man. We're into action on 77. And let's see here. Where are we? So we're into action. And here we are. Page 76 on into action. You guys can follow along if you have a big book. And it says, first, just to back it up, we finished step 5. And we gave all of our inventory to God, to ourselves, and to another human being. All that stuff we wrote down. And it says we returned home and we found a place where we can be quiet for an hour, carefully reviewing what we have done. We thank God from the bottom of our heart that we know him better. Taking this book down from our shelf, we turn to the page which contains the 12 steps. Carefully reading the first 5 proposals, the first 5 steps, we ask if we have omitted anything. That's a meditation. I'm asking myself, is there anything I left out when I did step 5? Am I holding something back, something secretive, something that's going to kill me? Because we can't afford to leave anything out, And, have we omitted anything? For we are building an ark through which we shall walk a free man at last. Is our work solid so far? Are the stones properly in place? Have we skimped on the cement put into the foundation? Have we tried to make mortar without sand? And then listen to this. It says, if we can answer to our satisfaction, we then look at step 6. It just says we look at step 6. Step 6 and 7 are only 2 paragraphs in this book on 76. And you can't believe what's jam-packed in these 2 paragraphs. It doesn't say we work step 6. It doesn't say we go through step 6. It says we then look at step 6. Step 6 is not a working step. Neither is step 7. Step 7 is just a prayer. It says, we have emphasized willingness as being indispensable. Are we now ready to let God remove from us all the things which we have admitted are objectionable? Now, we admitted that in step 4 when we did our inventory, and step 5 when we wrote it down. And it wasn't until step 5 that I really, when we do step 5, that's really when we finish step 4. Because I went through my whole 4th step without writing down the word fear once. And when I sat there with my sponsor and I went through my resentments, he said, wasn't fear part of that? And I said, oh yeah. And I wrote the word fear down. And then I went to the second resentment. He said, how it affected me. I didn't write fear. He said, wasn't fear part of that? I said, oh yeah, I was terrified. Fear was part. I went through my whole 4th step. I wrote it without ever writing the word fear. Not because I left that out purposely. I didn't see it. That's why we're completing step 4 while we're doing 5. That's a result of good sponsorship. So these are the things that are objectionable. All my fear, all my anger, all my selfishness, all my dishonesty. Those are the things I discovered when I did step 4 and 5. So it says, are we now ready to let God remove from us all the things which we have admitted are objectionable? Can he now take them all, every one? Listen to this. When we were in How It Works and we read the 12 steps, a lot of people, read the 12 steps and they think they know what they mean, what the steps mean. That's just I call that AA off the wall. Because when I used to sit at rehab, they'd always have on the wall the 12 steps written there. And I'd look at those steps and I think I knew what they meant. But I didn't really know until I, dove into this book and put my heart into studying this. And so I call that AA off the wall, because you can't look at those steps. Because look at this, on step 6, what it says in the 12 steps, it says, step 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. We're entirely ready to have God. And then when we get into the book, when we actually dive in, it says, are we now ready to let God? So if you just thought it, you'd think you're telling God what to do. Are we ready to have God? But really, when we dive in here, are we ready to let God? We're not fighting anymore. We made a contract that God was everything or nothing, that we were going to follow through with the rest of the steps immediately. That's what step 3 is. It's a contract. Are we now ready to let God take away all these things, which we had admitted are objectionable? The fear, the anger, the selfishness, the dishonesty, which I learned was all fear anyway. anger was all fear. I have no reason to be angry or resentful unless I'm scared of something. I have no reason to be dishonest unless I'm scared of something. So I learned that fear was really behind like all of this, man. And so it says, listen to this. If we still cling to something we will not let go, we ask God to help us be willing. That's the step 6 prayer. God, I'm still clinging to something I don't want to let go of. I'm still clinging to it. Please help me be willing to let this go. So even if you get to this step and you're still holding on to something you don't want to let go, that's okay. You could still move forward, but you need to start praying for it. Then it says, when ready, and here's step 7. Are you ready for this? When ready, we say, so it's always God first. You know, we go to God and we ask him, please help us be willing. We got to keep asking God for the willingness to let this stuff go. When ready, we say something like this. This is the step 7 prayer. This is step 7. It's just a prayer. My Creator, I am now willing that you shall have all of me, good and bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and to my fellows. God, grant me strength as I go on from here to do your bidding. Amen. In step 3, they don't say amen because amen finalizes the prayer. See, in step 3, we keep it open because now God's taking us through the rest of the steps. Step 7, they say amen. See, everything in here is in here for a reason. It's all very surgical, the way they do this. So it says, we have then completed step 7. See, this prayer, I didn't understand this prayer till a few years into sobriety that I really wrapped my head around this. I didn't just ask God to remove all my defects of character. I only asked God. See, a lot of us say the prayer and we think we're asking God to remove all our defects of character. That's not the case. I'm only asking God to remove the defects that stand in the way of me being useful to him and my fellows. That means that after I say this prayer, there's still going to be defects. There's still going to be fear. There's still going to be resentment, selfishness, dishonesty. That stuff's still going to come up in my life. And that's okay. The book tells us that there's still going to be. I only ask God to remove the defects that stand in the way of me being useful to him and the people around me. That means that if I have defects after the prayer, they're there for a reason, for me to be useful. And that's why we were given step 10 to find the use for them. So when we get into step 10, we'll go over that and I'll tell you how we find the use for them. It's all here in the book. We have then completed step 7. That's it. Step 6 and 7 go together. It goes like that. You got to understand I'm not talking to you like you got to understand. I'm just saying the people who wrote the book, you see, I'm fired up, man, when I'm talking about God. The people who wrote the book, dude, they went through these steps so fast. These guys were running around town making amends in like 3 freaking days, dude. They didn't wait. You got to be on step 1 for a year and 2, all this craziness you hear at meetings. This is how fast it goes. Step 6. We look at step 6. Are we willing? Yes. Let's say the prayer. If we're not willing, we keep asking God for the willingness. Let's say the prayer. Step 7. Then we move to 8 and 9. 8 to 9 also go together. So to summarize it, ma'am, we're asking God, just like it said, to remove our defects, root and branch, and only remove the defects. Are we willing to let God take all of the things that we admitted are objectionable? I am. I'm willing. Or I'll keep praying for the willingness. That's okay. Then we say the prayer. Step 7 is just a prayer outlined right here in the book. And we're only asking God to remove the defects that stand in the way of us being useful to him and our fellows. So you can expect for them to be defects after. I still deal with fear in my life. I still deal with resentment, selfishness, dishonesty, but now I'm given the 10th step so I can find the use for those things so they can be useful to God and my fellows and I can receive the blessings. See, God gave me a gift, man. God gave me a gift of being a recovered alcoholic and addict. That means he removed my obsession to drink or get high. And in 10 and a half years, it's never returned. But I'll tell you what has returned. My head still gets crazy. I still have to constantly treat this thing, man. This still gets noisy. I still get in my head. I still torture myself with fear or selfishness. I've been dishonest in sobriety. But I use the 10th step so I can live this book, so I can find the use for those things as they crop up. So anyway, man, I hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like button. Let me know what you think. Please leave a comment. This is about spiritual growth. God guides us through this, and it's right here for you. And if any of you need a sponsor, I would be honored to guide you through this as it's written out of the book. You can always email me, garagegymhomie@gmail.com. I love you all. God bless all of you. Together, let's get this dang muscle. I'm out.